Lahat ng OFW na nakilala ko, iisa lang ang pangarap, ang makauwi ng tuluyan at hindi na bumalik sa abroad. Pero bakit after 5, 10, or even 20 years ng pagpapadala ng dollars, euros o dirhams, the moment na mawalan ka ng kontrata bukas, wala kang sariling ipon? Hanggang kailan mo balak maging ATM ng pamilya mo? Today, I will give you the 3,000-year-old Joseph blueprint to escape the OFW trap, build generational wealth, and finally go home for good. Kapatid, gusto kong maging brutally honest tayo ngayon. Magsabi tayo ng totoo na madalas iniiwasan nating pag-usapan kapag nagvi-video call tayo sa mga pamilya natin sa Pilipinas. The OFW phenomenon is often painted as the ultimate sacrifice. Tinatawag tayong mga bagong bayani. At totoo yun, ang remittance ng mga OFW ang bumubuhay sa ekonomiya ng Pilipinas. Pero the harsh reality is, for the individual OFW, working abroad frequently becomes the ultimate financial trap. We have been culturally conditioned to believe na ang sukatan ng success mo sa abroad ay kung gaano kalaki ang ipinapadala mo, gaano kalaki yung balikbayan box tuwing Pasko, kung anong model ng iPhone ang nairigalo mo sa pamangkin mo, at kung gaano kalaki yung pinapagawa mong bahay sa probinsya. Pero let's look at the mathematics of your life right now. Milyon-milyon na ang kinita mo abroad over the years. Kung bibilangin natin lahat ng dumaan sa kamay mo, baka multimilyonaryo ka na. But if you log into your bank account right now, magkano ang natira in your own name? What is your actual net worth?
If your net worth is exactly the same as the day you left the Philippines, you are not building wealth. You just have a high-paying job. And here is the terrifying truth about earned income. It stops the moment you stop. Paano kapag nagkasakit ka? Paano kapag hindi na na-renew ang visa mo? Paano kapag pinalitan ang trabaho mo ng AI o mas murang labor from another country? Karamihan sa mga OFWs, they lack what the global ultra-wealthy call asset protection and a concrete wealth strategy. Nauubos ang oras natin sa pagtatrabaho at nauubos ang pera natin sa instant gratification ng pamilya sa Pinas. We are trapped in a cycle of earning foreign currency and spending it on depreciating liabilities back home. To permanently break this cycle, you don't just need a new hustle or another sideline. You need a complete psychological system reset. Kailangan nating balikan ang isang economic blueprint na isinulat more than 3,000 years ago. A blueprint that saved an entire empire from collapse. Let me introduce you to the ultimate law of economic survival, the Joseph Blueprint. Libo-libong taon na ang nakakalipas. May isang kwento na nakasulat sa ancient texts, specifically sa Book of Genesis. Ito ang kwento ni Joseph, isang Hebrew na naibenta bilang alipin sa Egypt, nakulong unfairly, pero dahil sa wisdom niya, umangat at naging prime minister ng buong Egyptian Empire. Isang gabi, the Pharaoh, ang pinakamakapangyarihang tao sa mundo noon, ay nanaginip ng isang nakakatakot na senaryo. Nakakita siya ng 7 matataba at malulusog na baka na umagos mula sa Nile River. Pero right after them, lumabas ang 7 sobrang papayat at mukhang may sakit na baka at kinain nila yung 7 matatabang baka. 2 beses na panaginipan ni Pharaoh ito.
But this time with healthy heads of grain being swallowed by scorched heads of grain. Nung tinawag si Joseph para i-interpret ito, binigay niya ang isa sa pinaka-accurate macroeconomic forecasts in human history. Sinabi niya kay Pharaoh, Egypt is about to experience 7 years of unprecedented economic wealth, agricultural abundance, and massive high income. The years of plenty. Babaha ang pera at pagkain. Pero hindi siya tumigil doon. Winarningan niya si Pharaoh. Immediately following those 7 years of plenty, susundan ito ng 7 years of severe famine, massive economic depression, and extreme poverty. Ang kahirapan sa susunod na 7 taon ay magiging sobrang lala, makakalimutan ng tao na naging mayaman sila noong nakaraan. The years of famine. Kung ikaw ang nasa posisyon ni Joseph as the financial advisor to the empire, ano ang ipapayo mo? Sasabihin mo ba na Gastusin natin lahat ngayon kasi marami tayong income. I-enjoy natin, bumili tayo ng mga bagong kalesa at ginto. Sasabihin mo ba na i-fund ang lahat ng luho ng mga kamag-anak sa kabilang bayan? Hindi. He instituted what I call the ancient 20% rule. Genesis chapter 41 verse 34 gives the exact mathematical formula. Let Pharaoh appoint commissioners over the land and take a fifth, which is exactly 20% of the harvest of Egypt during the 7 years of abundance. Joseph forced the entire empire to systematically save, store, and invest exactly 20% of their gross production bago pa sila gumastos para sa luho nila o sa iba. They built massive storehouses. No excuses. Everybody had to pay the system first.
At ano ang nangyari? When the inevitable famine hit, when the global markets crashed, when other nations were starving to death, Egypt was completely insulated, fully protected. In fact, Egypt became the wealthiest nation on the entire planet because when everyone else was desperate and broke, Egypt had the capital to buy assets, land, and livestock for pennies on the dollar. Kapatid, I want you to listen to me very carefully. The OFW financial timeline mirrors this ancient cycle perfectly. Ang kontrata mo sa abroad, ang pagiging seaman mo, ang pagiging nurse mo sa UK or America, ang pagiging engineer mo sa Middle East, factory worker sa Taiwan, or IT professional sa Singapore, these are your years of plenty. This is likely the highest earning potential of your entire life. Ito yung 7 matatabang baka mo. Pero the years of famine are mathematically guaranteed to come. Darating ang araw na babagal ang katawan mo. Darating ang araw na ayaw mo na lumayo. Darating ang araw na magbabago ang immigration law sa bansang pinagtatrabahuan mo. Or worse, magkakaroon ng global crisis at kailangan mong umuwi for good. Kung wala kang naitabing 20%, kung wala kang storehouses o naitayong investments, you will starve financially. Literal na back to zero. Babalik ka sa Pilipinas, mapipilitang makitira sa kamag-anak, or worse, out of desperation, pipilitin mo bumalik sa abroad kahit matanda ka na, kahit may sakit ka na, dahil wala kang safety net.
Ito ang dahilan kung bakit napakaraming kwento ng mga OFW na nag-abroad ng 20 years. Pero nang mag-retire, umaasa pa rin sa pensyon ng SSS na barya lang, o kaya ay namamalimos ng tulong sa mga anak nila. We need to stop this cycle. We need to apply the macroeconomic wisdom of Joseph to your microeconomic life. So paano natin ito i-apply using modern, high-level financial vehicles? How do we build your generational wealth while you are still working abroad? We have to execute the 4 steps of the Genesis Trust. Step 1. The non-negotiable 20% allocation and the index fund engine. Ang pinakamalaking pagkakamali ng OFW ay ang formula sa pag-budget. Ang traditional formula na ginagawa ng marami ay income minus remittance minus gastos equals savings. Kapag ganito ang ginawa mo, I guarantee you, palaging zero ang matitirang savings mo. Maiisip mo palagi, ay next month na lang ako magsisimulang mag-ipon. The Joseph Blueprint demands that the formula be flipped. Income minus 20% investment minus remittance equals gastos. Bago ka magpadala sa Pilipinas, bago ka magbayad ng utang na hindi naman kritikal, bago mo bilhin yung bags or shoes para ma-flex sa Facebook, you must ruthlessly separate 20% of your total income for yourself. You pay your future self first. It is an act of extreme discipline and self-preservation.
Pero hindi sapat na itago mo lang ito sa bangko sa Pilipinas. Dito marami ang nagkakamali. Remember your silent economic enemy, inflation. Yung pera natin sa atin nagde-depreciate. Kung ang pera mo nakapark lang sa standard savings account under BDO, BPI, or Metrobank, earning 0.1% interest per year, While ang inflation sa bigas, kuryente at tuition fee ay umaakyat ng 5% to 8% per year, mathematically, nawawalan ka ng pera habang natutulog. You are becoming poor safely. The wealthy elite do not park cash. They deploy capital. Dito pumapasok ang concept ng broad market index funds and aggressive asset allocation. Maraming sumusubok mag-business while abroad tapos ipagkakatiwala sa kamag-anak sa Pilipinas. Nagpapatayo ng piggery, internet cafe, sari-sari store, or bumibili ng tricycle para ipa-boundary. 90% of the time, nagfi-fail ito. Bakit? Kasi wala ka doon para i-manage at kadalasan, kinukurakot pa ng sariling kamag-anak. Instead of opening a highly risky small business na hindi mo mabantayan, the most secure way to grow your money is to invest it in the largest, most successful monopolies in the world. Through online brokerages like Interactive Brokers, GoTrade, or eToro, an OFW from anywhere in the world can easily buy an S&P 500 index fund. Ano ito? Kapag bumili ka ng index fund, bumibili ka ng the equivalent of tiny pieces of the 500 biggest, most profitable companies sa United States. You automatically own a piece of Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, Google, and Visa.
You don't need to pick which company will perform well. Hindi mo kinakailangan maging stock market expert or mag-chart ng graphs buong gabi. You just buy the entire system. And historically, the US market has grown around 8% to 10% annually over the last century. Here is the magic of compound interest. Kung every month, tinatabi mo ang 20% ng sahod mo at binibili mo ng index fund, you are buying income-producing assets. These companies pay dividends and the stock values grow. The money you make earns more money, which earns more money. Nagtatrabaho ang pera mo 24/7 habang nasa duty ka. Kapag ginawa mo ito consistently sa loob ng 10 to 15 years ng pagiging OFW mo, that 20% could effortlessly snowball into multi-millions without you managing employees, without you begging relatives not to steal from your sari-sari store. This is how you trade your physical labor for true equity. Step 2. Securing tangible equity, the real estate reality check. Part of your storehouse, lalo na kapag lumalaki na ang portfolio mo, should logically flow into real estate. Pero kailangan nating ayusin ang mindset ng OFW pagdating sa pagbili ng lupa at bahay. Ang ultimate dream ng OFW ay makapagpatayo ng isang napakalaki, 3 dapatang na mansion sa probinsya. Unti-unti itong pinapagawa. Padala ng 50K, pambili ng semento, padala ng 100K para sa bubong. Aabutin ng 10 taon bago matapos. This is incredibly dangerous financially. Let me explain why using high-level financial terms. That massive house in the province is incredibly illiquid. And for the next 10 years while you are not living there, it is a liability, not an asset.
An asset visually puts money into your pocket. A liability visually takes money out of your pocket. Yung malaking bahay na pinapatayo mo para sa ego at para may ma-post sa social media, hindi yan nagpapasok ng pera. In fact, kinakainan ka niyan ng real estate taxes, maintenance at kuryente. Ang nakatira doon, ang extended family mo, na ikaw rin ang nagbabayad ng utilities. I am not saying don't buy a house for your family. I am saying from an institutional wealth building perspective, the true elite focus on cash flowing real estate or raw land with extremely high appreciation value in strategic locations. Kung bibili ka ng property, lalo na kung gagamitin mo ang naipon mong 20%, it should ideally be paying you. Think about buying apartment units or commercial spaces that you can rent out. Property that an outsider pays to live in. Yung renta na pumapasok, yan ang sasalo ng expenses mo pag uwi mo. Kapag nagfa-farm tayo ng generational wealth, every large purchase must be heavily analyzed. Gagawa ba to ng pera para sa akin? O huhugot ba to ng pera mula sa akin? keep your ego out of your investments. A true multi-millionaire OFW might go home and live in a modest, simple 3-bedroom house, but they own 3 apartment complexes that pay them automatically every single month. That is the definition of true financial sovereignty. Step 3. Breaking the toxic family ATM syndrome. Ngayon, let's talk about the hardest part, the psychological warfare.
The biggest obstacle to an OFW executing the Joseph Blueprint and saving 20% is not the global economy. It is the family back home in the Philippines. Karamihan sa mga OFWs suffer from severe breadwinner burnout. Tingin sa'yo ng buong angkan ninyo. Ikaw ang family ATM. Ikaw ang tumatayong emergency fund nila. Kapag may na-ospital, ikaw. Kapag may ikakasal, ikaw. Kapag may kailangang bumili ng laptop para sa school, ikaw. Ikaw ang sumasalo ng lahat ng problema. At bakit? Dahil gini-guilt trip ka. Di ba nasa Dubai ka naman, ang laki ng kinikita mo dyan? O kaya, di ba nasa Amerika ka naman, barya na lang to sa'yo? No, hindi ito barya. Kung alam lang nila kung gaano ka ka-homesick, kung paano ka nasisigawan ng amo mo, kung paano minsan nagtitiis ka sa dilatang pagkain para lang malaki ang maipadala mo. To build wealth, you need to urgently adopt the mindset of an incentive trust and implement basic asset protection, starting with protecting your assets from your own family. Ang tunay na mayayaman sa mundo, hindi nagpapamigay ng cold cash sa mga kamag-anak pag hinihingan sila. They put strict rules on the money. Kailangan mo itong gawin. You have to establish clear, brutal boundaries. Hindi na pwedeng ubus biyaya. You have to retrain your family in the Philippines to be independent. Yes, perfectly fine na mag-provide ng strict budget for basic needs. Bigas, kuryente, basic tuition, pero you absolutely cannot fund their wants, their lifestyle upgrades, and their vices habang ikaw ay nag-iisang nagpupuyat at nagtitiis ng lamig at lungkot sa ibang bansa.
Setting financial boundaries is the ultimate, primal form of asset protection. You are systematically protecting your capital, and more importantly, you are protecting your mental health. Kung lalapit sila sa'yo para humingi ng puhunan sa negosyo, do not treat it as a donation. Treat it like a venture capital firm evaluating an investment. Hingan mo ng business plan. Kung sari-sari store, hingan mo ng accounting kung paano babalik ang ROI, return on investment. Make them sign a contract. Imbes na bigyan mo sila ng isda habang buhay, pilitin mo silang gumamit ng pamingwit. It sounds harsh. Sasabihin ng iba, madamot ka, ang damot mo sa pamilya. Let them talk. At the end of the day, you have to stop subsidizing laziness in the name of twisted family love. Dahil kapatid, isipin mo to ng mabuti. Kapag ikaw ang natumba bukas, kapag inatake ka sa puso dahil sa stress dyan sa Middle East o sa barko, sino ang gagastos sa sarili mo? Ang pamangkin na binilhan mo ng iPhone? Ang tito mong pinahiram mo ng panginom? Walang tutulong sa'yo kung hindi ang sarili mo at ang ipon mo. The greatest, most loving gift you can ever give your family is the concrete assurance that when you retire and go home, hindi ka magiging pabigat at pabagin sa kanila dahil may sarili kang milyones na naitabi. Step 4. The private family vault and advanced tax strategy. The final pillar is advanced, pero kung long-term OFW ka or permanent resident ka sa ibang bansa, you need to understand how the global rich protect their wealth.
They don't just rely on standard banks. The elite families use highly engineered, high cash value life insurance policies. Isa to sa pinaka-misunderstood na financial vehicle sa Pilipinas. Kasi ang tingin natin sa insurance ay pang lamay lang kapag namatay ka. That is term life insurance. The wealthy use policies that act as a private family vault. They hyperfund these accounts primarily for the living benefits. When you put your money into these specialized structures, it operates as a supercharged, tax-advantaged savings account. It grows with guaranteed compound interest and annual dividends from mutual insurance companies, completely insulated from the stock market crashes. Pero ang totoong secret? Let's say it's time to send your kids to college or nakakita ka ng magandang lupa sa Pilipinas na bibilhin. Hindi mo i-withdraw yung pera sa insurance mo kasi mamamatay ang compound interest. The wealthy take a loan against the cash value of their policy. The insurance company gives you a check using your policy as collateral. At dahil isa itong utang sa papel, under the tax strategy of most global laws, loans are not counted as taxable income. You get cash tax-free. You buy your property in the Philippines, and your original money inside the policy continues to earn interest na walang interruption. You are literally acting as your own bank.
At kung sakaling mangyari ang pinakakinatatakutan nating lahat, kung sakaling bawian ka ng buhay sa abroad, this setup acts as the ultimate estate planning tool. The death benefit instantly wipes out any policy loans and drops millions of tax-free pesos directly to your designated beneficiaries, bypassing courts, bypassing estate taxes, and ensuring seamless transfer of generational wealth to your spouse and children. Maraming mga OFWs ang naging biktima ng pyramiding scams, ng mga kamag-anak na inubusan ng pera, at ng mga bad investments. Having a solid guaranteed foundation through properly structured insurance and index funds ensures that whatever physical harm happens to you while sacrificing abroad, the empire you built stays completely intact. The ultimate homecoming. Kapatid, the video is about to end, and I want you to visualize something right now. I want you to think about the day you finally go home. The day na papasok ka sa Ninoy Aquino International Airport, bitbit ang bagahe mo at sinalubong ka ng pamilya mo. Gusto ko na pag-uwi mo, hindi dahil yung amo mo ang nag-decide na tapos na ang kontrata mo at nagpapanik ka ngayon kung paano magbabayad ng bills next month. Gusto ko, the day you go home, you are stepping off that plane on your own terms.
Gusto ko, umuwi ka dahil nag-decide ka na sapat na. Oras na para makasama ko ang asawa at mga anak ko. At kaya mong gawin yun because your passive income from your index funds and the rental income from your cash-flowing real estate is now completely replacing your abroad salary. You don't have to work another day in your life if you don't want to. Pero hindi yan mangyayari if you stay blind in the OFW matrix. Hindi yan mangyayari kung patuloy mong ipinagpapalit ang bukas mo para sa pansamantalang saya ng iba ngayon. Hindi yan mangyayari kung puro ka lang padala at nakakalimutan mong magtago ng 20% para sa nang-aantay na years of famine. Retirement age is inevitable. Sickness is inevitable. Global economic crashes are inevitable. The only difference between an OFW who panics and begs for help and an OFW who prospers in peace is preparation. Panahon na para gumising. Apply the Joseph Blueprint starting with your exact next paycheck. Cut off the toxic, unnecessary spending. Force your family to be independently strong. Stop pretending to be a rich millionaire every time you go back for your 1-month vacation and start doing the boring, quiet work of actually becoming a true multi-millionaire. Take 20% of your harvest today. Protect it. Buy broad market index funds. Build your estate and aggressively protect your energy.
Maraming salamat sa lahat ng sakripisyo mo para sa pamilya mo at para sa bayan natin. Alam ko kung gaano kabigat ang dinadala mo araw-araw. Pero this time, simula ngayon, you need to sacrifice for your future self. Kung nakarelate ka ng malalim at nagising ka sa mga napag-usapan natin sa video na ito, I want you to hit the subscribe button right now to join the ancient equity movement. I-share mo ang link ng video na ito sa mga Facebook groups ng mga kapwa natin OFW. I-send mo sa mga kasamahan mo dyan sa abroad na alam mo kailangan makarinig ng ganitong prangkahan. Sabay-sabay tayong makauwi ng may dalang totoong kalayaan.
tunay na financial sovereignty. Hanggang sa muli, huwag kang papayag na matali ka sa utang at remittances habang buhay. Maging matalino.